shelves are emptying, the pre-order queues are shrinking, and somewhere in Silicon Valley, a machine is laughing. PC gaming, once the undisputed king of interactive entertainment, the hobby that turned teenagers into millionaires and basements into broadcast studios, is gasping for air. And the weapon that struck the killing blow is not a console, not a subscription service, not even piracy. It is artificial intelligence. The very technology that was supposed to save gaming has become its most ruthless executioner. This is not a prediction. This is not a think piece about a distant future. This is happening right now in real time, and the numbers do not lie. For 2 decades, PC gaming was untouchable. The master race memes were not just jokes, they were economic realities. Gamers spent thousands on GPUs, cooling systems, custom rigs, and RGB lit everything. The PC gaming hardware market was worth over $40 billion annually. Games like World of Warcraft, Counter-Strike, and later Fortnite proved that the PC was not just a platform, it was a lifestyle. Streaming on Twitch, modding communities on Nexus, competitive esports on dedicated servers, all of it lived and breathed on personal computers. Publishers loved it. Developers loved it. Hardware manufacturers like Nvidia, AMD, and Intel were printing money. Every new GPU generation brought a wave of upgrades. Every new 808 title pushed players to spend more on better specs. The cycle was perfect. Beautiful even. But perfect cycles always have a breaking point, and AI found it. To understand why AI killed PC gaming, you have to understand what PC gaming was actually selling. It was never just games. It was the experience of high-performance hardware. It was the promise that better specs meant better gameplay. It was the status symbol of a machine powerful enough to run the latest titles at maximum settings. AI dismantled every single one of those promises simultaneously. First came AI-generated content. Tools like generative image models, procedural world-building engines, and AI-driven narrative systems began flooding the market with games. Not good games, not at first, but cheap ones. Thousands of them. The Steam platform, already bloated with asset flips, became a wasteland of AI-generated titles selling for $1.99. The signal-to-noise ratio collapsed. Gamers stopped browsing. Discovery died. When players cannot find quality games, they stop buying games. It is that simple. Second, and far more damaging, was the collapse of the GPU upgrade cycle. NVIDIA's own AI upscaling technology, DLSS, was designed to make games look better on cheaper hardware. AMD followed with FSR. Intel joined with XeSS. The original pitch was generous. You do not need the most expensive card anymore. Our AI will fill in the gaps. What happened instead was that the entire justification for buying a new GPU evaporated. Why spend $800 on a flagship card when a mid-range GPU from 3 years ago runs every current title at acceptable settings thanks to AI upscaling? The hardware market, the financial engine that powered the entire PC gaming ecosystem, stalled. Third, AI ate the developers. Not metaphorically. Literally consumed the workforce. Major studios began integrating AI tools for art generation, code assistance, QA testing, and even narrative design. The result was mass layoffs across the industry. In 2024 alone, over 10,000 game developers lost their jobs as studios replaced human labor with AI pipelines. Those are not just jobs. Those are the people who make games. Fewer developers means fewer games. Fewer quality games means fewer reasons to maintain a high-performance gaming PC. Here's where the story gets darker. As AI gutted the traditional game development pipeline, the big platform players, Microsoft, Sony's PC division, and cloud gaming services, used AI to supercharge their subscription models. Xbox Game Pass began using AI recommendation engines so sophisticated that players almost never felt the need to purchase individual titles. Why buy a game for $70 when an AI-curated subscription delivers you exactly the right game at the right moment for $15 a month? The subscription model did not just change how people pay for games, it changed what kind of PC you need to play them. If your games are curated by an algorithm and streamed from a data center, a $300 mini PC, or even a smart TV with a game streaming app is sufficient. The $2,000 custom gaming rig becomes not just unnecessary, it becomes embarrassing. It is the gaming equivalent of buying a Ferrari to drive in a school zone. NVIDIA recognized this threat and attempted to pivot with GeForce Now, its cloud gaming service. But even that move was an admission of defeat. The company was essentially telling its own customers, you do not need to own powerful hardware anymore. Stream it. The hardware business that built NVIDIA into a trillion-dollar company was being quietly retired by the very company that built it. This might be the most insidious development of all. As AI systems became the dominant consumers of in-game content, training on gameplay footage, generating synthetic player data, and powering NPC behavior, major studios began optimizing their games for AI interaction rather than human enjoyment. Open-world games became larger but emptier. because procedural AI generation could fill space with trees and rocks infinitely but struggled with meaningful human narrative. Dialogue systems became eerily smooth but oddly flat because AI voice, acting, and AI scriptwriting optimized for coherence over emotional resonance. Combat systems became perfectly balanced but strangely joyless because AI playtesting eliminated every surprise, every emergent moment, every happy accident that made older games legendary. Players noticed. Review scores began diverging from sales figures. Games that reviewed well on technical benchmarks. Smooth frame rates, no bugs, polished UI, were selling poorly because they felt hollow. Human players kept asking the same question in forum after forum. Why does this game feel like it was made by a machine? Because increasingly it was. The irony is brutal. AI was supposed to make games better. Instead, it made them technically flawless and spiritually empty. And spiritually empty products do not build loyal communities. They do not inspire YouTube channels and Twitch streams and Reddit deep dives. They get played for a weekend and forgotten. And when games get forgotten, gaming PCs gather dust. Independent game development was supposed to be the immune system of the industry. When big studios failed, indie developers delivered. Stardew Valley, Hollow Knight, Hades, Disco Elysium, these were not just great games, they were proof that small teams with big ideas could still move the needle. PC gaming, with its open platform and Steam, storefront, was the natural home of the indie revolution. AI ended it, not by making indie games impossible, but by making them invisible. When AI tools allowed anyone to generate a playable game prototype in an afternoon, the flood of content on every digital storefront became unmanageable. Steam went from releasing hundreds of games per month to thousands. The algorithmic curation systems, themselves powered by AI, began favoring content that generated engagement metrics over content that rewarded deep play. Small developers making genuinely innovative games found their releases buried under avalanches of AI-generated shovelware before they could build an audience. The financial result was devastating. Indie studios that would have survived on modest sales in the previous market era were folding within weeks of launch. Developers who had spent 3 years crafting a personal handmade experience were watching their Steam pages scroll off the front page in 72 hours, replaced by the next wave of algorithmically generated content. The human creators who once made PC gaming worth caring about began migrating to other careers, other mediums, other lives. Let us talk numbers, because the numbers are damning. GPU shipments peaked around 2021 and have declined in the consumer segment every year since. The AI boom did not save gaming GPU sales. It cannibalized them. NVIDIA's data center revenue exploded, but its gaming division flatlined. The company that once measured its success by how many gamers could run Crysis is now measuring it by how many data centers can train language models. AMD's gaming GPU business followed the same trajectory. The RX 7000 series launched to muted enthusiasm in a market that had lost its upgrade appetite. Intel's Arc GPUs arrived at exactly the wrong moment, competing for a shrinking slice of consumer attention with two entrenched rivals who were themselves struggling to generate excitement. Peripheral manufacturers felt it too. High refresh rate monitors, mechanical keyboards, precision gaming mice, categories that thrived on the aspirational culture of PC gaming, saw demand soften. When the community that evangelized this hardware loses its reason to upgrade, the accessories market follows. RAM prices, traditionally a reliable indicator of gaming PC build activity, told a story of consistent demand decline in the consumer segment. The people who were buying high-capacity, high-speed memory kits were increasingly AI researchers and content creators, not gamers. PC gaming was never just a hobby. It was a culture. It had its own language, its own celebrities, its own memes, its own rites of passage. Building your first PC was a coming-of-age ritual for a generation of technology-literate young people. Overclocking, cable management, thermal paste application, these were skills people were proud of. Forums like Reddit's R, Build APC, and communities around Linus Tech Tips built identities around the craft of PC building. AI corroded that culture in two ways. First, by making the craft feel pointless. When AI upscaling means a cheaper card runs everything, the status signal of a high-end build disappears. The enthusiast community shrank from a mainstream aspiration to a niche hobby, like vintage car restoration, respected, but not culturally central. Second, AI content generators began producing so much gaming-adjacent content, walkthroughs, reviews, tier lists, gaming news, that the human creators who built that culture were financially squeezed out. Gaming YouTube channels that once thrived on authentic personality and hard-earned expertise found themselves competing with AI-generated content farms that could produce 50 videos a day. The economics of gaming content creation collapsed, and with it, the cultural infrastructure that kept new people excited about PC gaming. When the culture dies, the market follows, always. Here is the uncomfortable truth that the industry does not want to confront. There might not be a way back. Not to what PC, Gaming was. The conditions that created that golden era, the hardware upgrade cycle, the boutique indie scene, the enthusiast culture, the 808 blockbuster machine, have all been structurally altered by AI in ways that cannot simply be reversed. What might exist instead is something smaller, more intentional, and arguably more honest. A PC gaming market defined not by mass market ambition, but by genuine craft. Developers who use AI as a tool rather than a replacement for human creativity. Hardware companies that compete on software and experience rather than raw benchmark numbers. Communities that form around games for their ideas and emotions rather than their technical specifications. Some early signals of this exist. Certain indie developers have made a deliberate public commitment to human-made games, marketing their titles specifically as AI-free. Players have responded with genuine enthusiasm, not because of ideology, but because they can feel the difference. The rough edges, the personal voice, the evidence of a human hand in the work. Those games are not selling in the millions, but they are selling to the right people, the people who remember what made PC gaming worth loving in the first place. The PC gaming market is not dead in the sense of ceasing to exist. It is dead in the sense that the version of it that captured the cultural imagination of a generation, the arms race, the endless upgrade cycle, the indie explosion, the 808 spectacle, that version is gone. Artificial intelligence did not swing a single killing blow. It applied 1,000 small pressures, each one individually defensible, collectively catastrophic. The GPU that was supposed to run your games now runs language models. The developer who was supposed to make your games now trains AI systems. The store where you were supposed to discover your next obsession is now a landfill of generated content. The culture that was supposed to welcome you in has been automated into irrelevance. PC gaming is not coming back the way it was. And pretending otherwise, clinging to benchmark wars and GPU launch hype cycles, as if the world did not fundamentally change, is the most dangerous mistake the industry can make right now. The machines are not coming for PC gaming. They already came. They already won. What happens next depends entirely on whether the humans who love this medium are willing to fight for a future version of it. Smaller, stranger, and more human than anything that came before. That fight has already started. Whether it is already too late is the question no algorithm can answer.